we each have a leadership style, and I use a tool called the Enneagram to help people see their superpower and what their liability is. And so I break it down by what is their leadership style, and based on that, what are they really good at that we need to leverage, and then what's their blind spot that we need to make sure that on their team they have somebody that naturally has the gift that they're missing.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
100%. And there is no such a thing that, men are better leaders than women. You hear some people, making some statements that they are,
we've seen in studies is
the opposite.
And what I'm talking about
to hear.
What I'm talking about is there are leadership studies that are done through Leadership Circle 360 that looks at the sort of 7 competencies of great leaders and what's required from them. And they tie that also to, and the higher you score on that, how well did you score on business performance, right? Market share, profitability, all the hard numbers that we need. And the study was done, and this has over 500,000 leaders in this database. And the study that they found was more women. The women that had higher also had higher business results. So there was a lot. That's why I said there was a lot to this skill set, because leadership is about relationships. It's about building relationships.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day. So you want that skill set. And so for that whole mindset to be there is just mind blowing, because the data says otherwise. Now, I'm not here to say one is better than the other, because both can be great. What I'm suggesting is, as we move forward in an era of artificial intelligence, you better develop your relational skills, because that's what's going to separate you, because the machines will take the rest.
And then, Susan, now let's talk about women in leadership positions. And there is no such a thing, do you think that women have different style of leadership that men? I think that because what we're talking before, we are different, right? Men take more risk, but sometimes this is not a good thing. Yeah, you can hit a home run, or you can, or that can collapse the company, right? Whether women, again, you're talking about relationships, they nurture, they are more, they see risk in a different way, more effectively. They've just a little story that I shared with you, right? These women are taking care of the loans and paying the loans back because, they do have children, and they know, that they have to use the money effectively and make some profit to pay back the loan, so they can raise more, so they cannot risk this mother. Whether men, well, if take big risk and that you cannot handle it well, there is no one sometimes depends directly from you. So and you say COVID also, even countries with women in leadership position have completely different result that countries with men in the leadership position. Yeah, I remember I saw, the Australian was a woman prime minister, and I don't know what other countries, and we were seeing data that people were getting less ill, and they were more looked after just because women were in leadership positions. So moving forward into a new generation, into a new way that, hopefully, like I said, we have progress, but a lot of work has to be done in bringing more women to leadership positions, so we can have a better planet to live in. And so, what are the biggest challenges that you see? Let me ask you a personal question. What is more easy to you, to train men to become great leaders, or to train women to become most effective leader? In your personal opinion, what is where do you find more resistance on?
I don't I don't look at it differently, and there's different blind spots that each that have, and it depends on the individual. So I mostly have worked with men, given that men are in, but I've also worked with women CEOs as well. And so what I spend more time looking at is we each have a leadership style, and I use a tool called the Enneagram to help people see their superpower and what their liability is. And so I break it down by what is their leadership style, and based on that, what are they really good at that we need to leverage, and then what's their blind spot that we need to make sure that on their team they have somebody that naturally has the gift that they're missing. And so I kind of look at it that way, and it's growth for all of us, right? So I try not to be kind of divisive in that way, because I think there's growth for each side. There's growth for all of us, and to put one above the other or below the other. My point in bringing up the study that I did earlier was just to say I think it's the upbringing of women and traditional ways that women needed to be with each other versus men, that's changing though. So I think you'll see less and less differences between men and women, the more the bifurcation of, well, girls play with dolls and boys play with, guns or whatever, right? The more that starts to blend, the more you'll see less, I believe, as sort of differences in the leadership. But for now, because of the way girls are raised to be more collaborative, they tend to be effective leaders because they know how to build relationships and work with the collective. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I'm not suggesting that it's inherent and it's always going to be like this going forward. I think it's a product of our culture, and as that starts to change, you're going to see both, but both are important in the workplace, and both are important, provide insight that we need in order to solve today's problems.
Yeah, I think that to become an effective leader, either you're a man or woman, right? So if you're a man, well, there are a lot of skills and qualities that women have, that if you don't become good at this, you're not going to become an effective leader, and vice versa. There are some nature skills that women have, but they do have to adopt. Maybe, when we're talking a little bit about risk, or another master some skills that, that men for our nature, we have embedded in our personality. At the end of the day, an effective leader, you need to lead for both. For women and men, so you have to be able to understand both. You have to be able to get your message across, and to move forward. I think, Susan, that there is pleasure for me to see you being a great leader and teaching and coaching entrepreneurs out there, even billionaires, right? Yeah. They are very difficult sometimes. Yeah. I've been there. See, because they know it all. So my God, you go on there and you say, look, this is how you need to do things. I'll say, how he's looking at you. Well, I have $1 billion. What are you talking to me, right? So and again, the whole thing is how we can bring the conversation of leadership more from bottom to top, right? And have and put out there that anyone, regardless if you're women, men, black, Chinese, whatever, you can become an effective leader, and to keep, be out there as a role model, because we do need, in my opinion, more women in leadership position, and we need to balance out the whole scale, especially in corporate, and because it's going to be better for business. This is based on my own experience, so I know I know for sure that, having a lot of women in the leadership and management role can make a huge difference for your business, and also uh, learn from another perspective, right? Because if you have, women can bring a different touch to your organization, conveying that idea that effective leadership can be great, especially it's a male dominated. Well, they already have so many men. So, and one of the biggest solutions could be this to balance out the scale. So, Susan, if someone is in love with our conversation, they want to learn more about what you do, how they can find you, how this process works, how can you help them? Can you share a little bit more about this?
Yes, sure. Well, if I mentioned before, my firm is Meritage Leadership, and on there you'll find the free delegation guide that I talked about, and you can download that. And I also have a personal site for my speaking, which is susandrumm.com, and that's Drumm with 2 M's.
Thank you so much, Susan. And for all of you following this broadcast on Unstoppable, see you in our next episode, how brave entrepreneurs like Susan break down the wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Bye.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.